A pretty famous quote from Abraham Lincoln is when he said that most people recognize that politicians are one long step removed from honest men. For decades, we have brought ourselves to believe that politicians are all a bunch of slime balls, that they cannot be trusted, that they are only always working for their own good. I've been often accused of being cynical, to which my response is always yes, but am I cynical enough? Which is tough to be cynical enough, especially when you're dealing with a particular subset of politicians. But it's easy to go from that to just being a scoffer, someone who just says, and we've all heard it before, they're all just a bunch of no goods. You say Republicans do this, Democrats do the exact same thing. You say Democrats, the Republicans are doing they're all just a bunch of no goods. There's nothing you can do about it. It's all just filth from beginning to end. There is a reason why politicians end up being a long step removed from honest men. And that is in two words: popular elections. In order to have any career as an elected official, you have to be elected. To be elected means you have to raise a boatload of money. To raise a boatload of money, you've got to pander to the people who have money. You have to be elected, you have to tell people what they want to hear. And enough people have to agree with you. And so you end up, very often a politician will end up making all kinds of promises, saying whatever it takes to be elected. And not all countries are like this. Our system, I think, is the best awful system to rule men that I know of. But the popular elections is what causes politicians to have that stereotype for themselves. That does not mean we have to be scoffers. That does not mean we have to throw our brains out the window and just say, well, that's just the way they all are. We can look at all of our leaders and take what they say with a huge grain of salt and watch what they do. Don't think very much about what they say. Focus in on what they do. Republicans for the past year and more have been focused like laser on voter suppression and gerrymandering and conspiracy theories for one purpose. They know they're losing the popular electorate in the country. Therefore, they must become a viable and successful minority rule party. They will get rid of polling places, replace precinct executives, so that, not with Republicans, they'll replace them with people they know can falsify election results and put doubt on the elections. Please notice that the Republicans are the ones who brought the doubt to the elections without basis, and then use that doubt to further undermine election integrity. Their point is never, ever, ever to gain integrity for the elections or to increase voter confidence. Their purpose is to undermine voter confidence, to suborn elections so that they can be a minority rule party, because they recognize they have lost the confidence of any upcoming generation. All they have left are people who look like me. And even the people who look like me are beginning to see a light also. However, Democrats spend money on the public good. Look at what they're doing. Don't look at what they say. Look at what they're doing. Look at the legislation that Biden is trying to get through right now. It is for the public good. You can't say, oh, it's not true. That's why you shouldn't say it. That the Republicans, they're small government. They want no spending. No. They will spend, and Trump did spend, and Bush did spend just exactly as much and more as any Democratic administration. They usually spend it more on war and the military-industrial complex, and then have no exit strategy for the war, so that the cost just keeps on going and keeps on going. The cost of a long, drawn-out war is far, far greater than anything Biden has in mind by the time you take into effect the lost lives and the income that would have been generated from those lost lives, the disability and the cost of coping with those disabilities from returning vets, and the cost of their lack of wages due to those disabilities, that in addition to the man years they lost where they could have been producing within the home front if that war had not been there, and the time they could have been with their family, the damage to their family, the damage to their children. It just goes on and on and on. Whereas Democrats are trying very hard, and Manchin is stopping them, they are trying very hard to pass legislation that will work for the public good. There is not this thing, oh, the Republicans, Democrats, they're just working against each other, and both of them are blaming the other, and both of them are just, yes, it's true, they're both blaming each other, but don't look at what they say. Look at what they are doing. And that will save us from being ignorant and from being cynical and from being a scoffer. That is not where we want to be. We want to be people of goodwill who are working for the good of our country, because that's the only way things will get better.